Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Baka.
So guys,
What up?
how's everybody's week?
Mine's not been great today. The rest of the week was great until today. So if I die, and not like die, but if I just disappear from the show, it's because my internet died again today.
Yeah,
Just so everybody.
You gotta love it. Gotta love it. Is it Comcast?
Yep.
Oh, okay. That explains a lot.
You know, I usually don't have that much of a problem, but when I have a problem, it's a bad problem. So
I usually don't have a problem, but when there's a problem, it's a big one.
it's like Dusty Case commercial, right? So it's like I don't
just,
usually have a problem. When I do, it's a big one.
Yeah. That seems like that's how Comcast operates. And they don't really like your problem is not their problem.
No.
It's like, but you're my provider. Why don't you care?
They still have millions of other people that still have a signal. Why do they care about me?
True. What games has everybody been playing this week?
Hook, would you like to start us off?
I will start off.
I watched a little bit of it too, so I'd like to kind of throw my things at him too. So
Okay. So I played, of course, I've been playing Recore still since last week, but also the other thing I've been playing this week is Outriders for the last couple days. I'm really enjoying Outriders. It's kind of a combination of Gears of War, The Division, Destiny, and Anthem, but the good parts of those kind of thrown together.
which part is the Gears of War part?
The third-person view of the actual game and the hiding behind everything, being able to come back up, which is also the Division part of it as well.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think you would just like remove Gears of War comparison and just put Division.
Since
Division
they
has
worked
all
on
that
Gears
same
of War,
stuff,
I'm going to
too.
say Gears of War over Division.
That's true too.
So,
But
I'm going to say the mechanic comes from them working on Gears of War.
Like the characters don't feel heavy though. They feel more slender and sleek.
I think the Devastator feels a little heavy, but that's because he's a tank. So
fair enough.
Each one of them feels a little different. So basically, the way that the concept is this: we've destroyed Earth. We show up 83 years later to like in a cryo sleep or whatever. We've come to a planet called Enoch, and the idea is the Outriders are essentially. They're basically the Marines. They show up and they're supposed to go in and make sure everything's safe for everyone to land on the planet to start creating, a new world there. Shit goes bad and doesn't go the way it's supposed to. And then the game progresses further into the future. I'm not going to go into detail how that happens, but it progresses further into the future. And that's when your character really starts to develop. And it gives you an option of 3 different styles or 4 different styles of play. So basically you've got one that is called a technomancer, which is kind of your long distance style, so sniper style play. You have one that is a pyromancer who is all about some fire, and is, but the problem with that one is it's super squishy. Like it is so squishy until you get a good gear on it. It's squishy. But then you have the trickster, which is the character I started with, and the trickster is kind of a middle of the road, could be middle of the range or could be up front. I like it because it has this thing called space time, which allows it to be able to, you can take this bubble and put it around everybody. It slows them down, or you have another option that literally turns them what that looks like skeletons. You can see their skeletons and you just basically blow them up. And then you can also teleport from one area to another. And then you have the Devastator, like I said before, the tank. The thing I like about the game is you can play in those 4 styles. Right now with the demo, of course, the demo is free. I personally play the demo, see if you like the game or not. But what I like is the fact that this company went around and, which is People Can Fly, said, hey, play the game, play this as much as you want to. We're going to level you out at 7. That's as high as you can get your character. World 5 is as high as you get, and the world tiers just makes the world harder. You can go back through a mission at a higher world level, and you get legendary drops and stuff like that as you go through. There's 15 total for the actual full release of the game. I didn't see how much the level for your actual character would be. They have a really nice skills tree. Like, it's got a lot of options for your skills, but the company said you get to keep all of it. So if you go buy the new game, the game, whatever you did in the demo, that information is going to transfer over. So it's not like it's a waste of time to play one and then you're having to start back over when you buy that full game or not. Which I thought was nice of them to do. Nobody really does that shit anymore. It's usually, oh, here's this, full wipe and start over again. But I enjoyed it overall. It is kind of nice too. So like if you've got a character you're having to start off at level 1 that you want to boost up and your friends are world 5 and all 7s, they can bring you in. You're gonna be super squishy to start with, but your character levels up really, really fast. So you can just do like a quick level for your characters to get them all up to the same level, which was really nice. But I enjoyed it. I thought that the game mechanics feel nice. It took me a little while to get used to the pyromancer, and a lot of them you regenerate your health by using your powers and killing in close combat in some of their cases, and so that's kind of nice too. They also have these things called captains, which captains are your mini bosses almost, but the way that they work is they have altered abilities just like your character does, and so you have to stop them from using their altered ability while you're trying to kill a bunch of bad guys that are around them, and like it's can be overwhelming at times, but it's nice when you got a group of anywhere from 1 to 3. The more people you have in the group, the harder the level is. They did increase that as well, and then of course your world tier increases too. So I think it's got some issues because it's a newer game. One of the things that drove me crazy, but they said it is going to be corrected for the full game, is all the cutscenes are in 30 frames per second. It was driving me nuts, but they did say they're going to be changing that, especially when you're playing the game at, let's say, 90 frames per second or higher, and then you go to a cutscene and you're like, oh my god, this is not good. And then we did run into a weird bug to where it all of a sudden shot into first person, and you couldn't move. Like the whole shot was that, and you couldn't move. Weird. And so we figured out a way to fix it. Well, we didn't figure out a way to fix it. We ended up moving to another area, and I was like, okay, this should fix it, because now you're loading in a new area, right? No, I was still in first person, but I could move. So I'd run around, but I couldn't go to anything to like turn stuff in or sell stuff or buy stuff, whatever. And then I just happened across bumped into a rock, and when I did, poof, my character popped back up and I was in third person view again. It was so weird.
Random.
Such a weird bug.
Hopefully you reported that one. That one's
yeah, that sounds
yeah,
like
it's recorded.
It sounds like something they would like to fix, probably, if I had to guess.
It was very strange, but yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. I really did. I think it was a good combination of a bunch of games, and they don't, they're not holding your hand, but at the same time they're not making it to where, oh my god, this is so grindy as fuck. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
So
I'm just sad that there's no
balance.
Leash kick mechanic, because those are the same people that made Bulletstorm, and that is such a fun mechanic. Why will nobody put that in a game for me? I want to be able to pull people to me and
because
kick
they
them
probably
away.
Patented it.
No, you're probably right.
To be fair, it's people can fly. They should be able to use their own thing, right?
I guess maybe it's not as impactful in third person.
But you played the Division, right? Oh.
Yes.
Okay, so you've played all the games that this is kind of modeled after. What makes this one stand out different than just the rest of them?
I think the ability
or are we just like a normal shooter style game?
It's a shooter style game, but I think that having the abilities makes it's to me it gives you feel powerful. The combat's very quick, and I feel
Destiny
powerful.
is like that too.
Yeah, Destiny's but Destiny, you're in first person. Pretty much.
I guess that's true.
So it's like your view is different, right? And Destiny can feel grindy at times. Especially the first one was very grindy. but this one has it just has a different feel to it in the fact that, like one of my favorite, in which two of the characters have this ability. The Trickster has it as well as the Devastator. Both have a teleporting type ability. The way that the Trickster one works is literally you're aimed toward a bad guy, and then what it does is it literally teleports you behind them, so you can fight them that way, close up. And then the one that for the Devastator, because he's a tank, literally he just kind of floats up in the air real quick, and then you find whoever you're going to go to, and then he pounces down onto him. And if there's a group of 4, you can kill all 4 of them in one shot. So it's just this, just finding a way to play the game, and comboing different stuff is nice. Also the world tiers adds captains into parts of the world that might not have been there with World 1 or World 2 too. So captains might just show up. So you're trying to fight them, and the game gets more difficult playing
Dynamic
that way.
gameplay is definitely a positive in things like that.
Yeah, and so when the cool thing about it is you might be, let's say you're the pyromancer, and your friend is a trickster. Comboing the powers between you is a lot more powerful than just one person trying to do it. So you've got to combat it, and some of those captains have
a little bit like
abilities.
Anthem.
Yeah,
A little bit like Anthem, where you combo the abilities.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot. It's got those feel to it. Like, and I like the battle on there. I like the gun mechanics and everything that's there. I did end up turning the helmets off because some of the helmets are horrible.
Yeah,
And
that's,
just every
that's
game.
a problem.
Yeah,
In-game
that seems
design.
like
I ended up turning the
those
helmets
games.
off. I mean, I like some of them. Like, I like the look where it looks like you're somebody that's out in the desert and got just like a thing draped over or a hood of some sort. That's fine with me. But some of the metal helmets that they have look like bugs, and it's just like it's horrible. But I think that I'm interested to see where they evolve the game some. Like if they start to do some stuff to the demo as we get closer to that April 1st mark.
Is that
They
when
got
it's
a full
launching,
month.
really?
Oh yeah, it's coming out
It's
April
launching on
1st. It's right around the
Fool's
corner.
Day. That is
Yep.
a day to avoid no matter what. Like, whatever you do in life, just avoid that day. It's a
Watch,
stupid
this is
day.
just a demo, and they actually haven't made a game around this. It's just this, so
I
it's April
gotcha.
1st. They're like, we're
Oh
just
my
kidding.
god,
There's
that'd be
no
wrong
game.
on so many levels. We're just teasing. We're actually doing Bulletstorm 2.
Sold 100%. And I will take that
Bulletstorm
trade-off.
2 comes out on April 1st.
Right. Boy, they went into a lot of work for an April Fool's joke. I can tell you now. There's a lot of cinematics in that damn thing.
Yeah, I will say that is definitely one thing because I was watching some streamer play. Like the story seems much more engaging, much more like it draws you in more than Division, and even lesser to say Destiny. Because with those two kind of games, you're kind of dropped in. You talk to your quest marker guy, and then you go about your business. This one kind of feels like you're playing a story through. I haven't played it, though. Like watching it, like you actually play a story instead of just being another
You're playing
guy.
a story. The side quests feel good. Even there's a lady that she's the historian. Like she's got a bunch of old vinyl and stuff hung up, like vinyl records that are hung up and things. So you can go and find things to give her. Those even have good battles. So it's not like, you might be going to get a record or a CD or something, but at the end of the day, the battle for it is fun, and you get something out of it. It feels rewarding. You got these blue boxes that you can open up that are in the world, that'll drop loot for you, as well as, some of your characters and stuff. As you kill them, will drop loot. Maybe you headshot them or whatever it is. There's I've known at starting at World 3, legendaries start to drop. So but it's super rare, right? But it's one of those where it's like there have been people at World 3 get the legendary stuff. I've not gotten any of the legendary stuff. I'm waiting. I'm like, please, I just want one. Because I've seen some of them. Co-Carnage was actually showing her some earlier today when I was watching on my phone through my actual, provider instead of freaking internet. He was but it's kind of cool to see some of the abilities to him, because the guns will have mods to them similar to the way Destiny does, to where that does certain things to the enemies. The interesting thing to us, like they were some of the guys I was playing with yesterday were doing the math, and they figured by the time you got to World 15, you were playing against characters that would be close to 50. And so as your person gets higher up, like you're gonna have to figure out new ways to fight.
That segues perfectly to my next concern for games like this, and no game has ever done it perfectly, is that as you get higher difficulties, games and companies just don't seem to figure out how to create mechanical based shooters like this. You're gonna end up with bullet sponges at some point. Like world 15, you're gonna end up with just these huge bullet sponges with some abilities. Like, I watched a little bit of the captains, and they do have a couple of abilities, which is nice, but for the most part, it's literally just gun them down as quickly as you can.
Well, it is for the most part, but I think that it's also one of those where one of the ones we fought against that's in a side mission, what he's able to do in that side mission makes me scared for the rest of the guys we're going to end up having to fight. Because
I hope so, because mechanical-based bosses are so important. But
keep in mind, the world tier is a difficulty tier too.
Right.
So you as you going into world 5 or whatever, the stuff you're going against might be a 7 or a 9 or whatever it happens to be, and then it multiplies from there. But it is one of those where you're like, okay, I just want to drop some loot, or I want to grab some money or whatever. If you wanted to drop it down to a lower tier, you can still play through the level at a lower tier. At least right now, I'm assuming it's going to be the same way as you play through the game, because it's going to be skill based, right? I can't get past the world 4 because I'm not that good, or I'm playing by myself and it's a lot more difficult to do, or whatever.
But that raises the question: is it because you just can't pump enough damage, or because you can't dodge enough skill shots?
I think it's just because you suck.
I mean, that applies to both of those. But from what I've heard, the end game seems like it's got a bit to it too. Like I think they have 13 instances. I can't remember the name for it. They have 13 instances they plan on for end game. And when you beat all 13 of those, it unlocks a secret 14th mission. And when you beat that one, it unlocks the final big, I guess, raid mission at the very end. So
that's nice.
It's got quite a bit there at the end. It's just, we got to see how they balance it, because every game you end up with just Anthem, nothing but bullet sponges. Division, nothing but bullet sponges. Like Destiny, like they did a couple of really good mechanics. I can think back to Destiny 1 where they did the Hollow Knight and whatnot. Like the mechanics and whatnot were really good, but then most of the time you just end up bullet sponges, and that stuff gets really old for a lot of players. So if they're smart and they focus on building mechanical bosses that aren't too oppressive, then I think they're in a good spot to start.
I feel like I think the difference is with like this versus Destiny or Division, it's not an open world, and I think that's they're building the game. I mean, once you get outside the first city, it probably is a little bit more open than what we're dealing with right now. But I think it looks like they're building a single player game and allowing you to play up to 3 play into it. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a co-op game. I gotcha. Mm-hmm. Well, it's definitely going to be something we keep our eyes on. Yeah. That's what I like Division. Like, it had that huge city opened up where you could just kind of run around and play, and it was dynamic and whatnot, and it was really nice. And this one definitely seems like it's more closed off style, instance-based missions and whatnot. But yeah, I think it's got potential there, and we'll have to see where it goes. So it's still very early on. I mean, 30 FPS, come on now.
Right. They said on the launch it'll be 60 frames per second. I was like, okay, whatever.
That's just a month away, so we'll see.
Well, I mean, you mentioned mechanical stuff, and that's something I wanted to talk about in the stuff that we've been doing, because, and this is where it's gonna get super nerdy, sorry y'all, World of Warcraft time. Okay, so in WoW, for those of you that don't know, you basically pick your class, and your class will come with 3 specs that you can play them as. Like, Chicken is a warrior, so he's got his choice of Prot, which is protection, he's a tank, Fury and arms, and some people think that Fury can tank.
Fury can tank.
Fury can tank if your healers really like you and you have enough of them, or else they're just wasting mana on you. But priests also have that option where there's 2 Healy specs and a 3rd spec that is a damage spec. It's called a Shadow Priest. And for all of Classic, it's been pretty garbo. And nobody plays it because you have to fight you have to fight with warlocks and mages for your gear. There's no gear that is specific to a Shadow Priest. It is, you have to share with everybody else and hope that they'll give you the scraps. And so most people don't play them because they don't have a great spot, really. You can only throw up so many debuffs on a boss, and a lot of their stuff is dependent on them having a couple of debuffs up, but they're not as good as the debuffs from the warlocks and the mages and other people, so you don't want those, and it's been a whole thing. So they've been nothing. Blizzard has essentially done nothing with them through the entirety of Classic, and you get to Naxxramas, which is the end game for Classic. There are not 1 but 2 bosses that require heavy mind control, and mind control is, oh my goodness, a really good thing for a Shadow Priest. Not so great for Holy Priests. So because there are no Shadow Priests, Holy Priests are having to fill this role, which kind of sucks because it means you're taking out 2 healers from your heal team, and in our case, it's me and one of my partners named Melly, and we're usually some of the heavy hitters too, so we're kind of down a little bit in heals while we're trying to do this thing. And there's one boss that you have to get kind of close and mind control one of his little buddies and then use that to... So basically the priest that is mind controlling this thing is tanking your boss for you. Yeah, okay, so Chicken was explaining this, and a lot of other guildies were explaining this mechanic to me, because I was going to be the first one to attempt to mind control the dude. And they're talking, like, there's 3 people talking at one point. This is why we have to have, like, clear comms for stuff like this. But I'm trying to listen to Chicken specifically. Like, I can tune into his voice better than I can other people's, and he's telling me where to stand and everything, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. The first pull, I'm like sneaking, you're supposed to go down this ramp, I'm like sneaking down the ramp, trying to get close enough to pull, and then all 4 of the little dudes and the big guy are like, kill that one, and I'm like, no, run away. And then we tried again, and the same thing happened. It's because my mind control as a holy priest reaches 20 yards away from me. A shadow priest specs into a talent that will let them use their mind control from 40 yards, and that's far enough not to aggro. So guess who got killed, like, twice for no reason? Me! It was awful. I don't understand, from a Blizzard standpoint, why they were like, let's not do anything for Shadow Priests. Okay, now Shadow Priests are like the most important thing that you can have in this final raid, even though you don't have one that you've never geared, because we didn't need them until now. Why, Blizzard?
Well,
Why is that thing?
You could see the evolution of their raid design. Like, Molten Core, like, there's barely anything. It's mostly step out of the fire and beat the boss until it dies.
Which is
for
still
most
hard
of
for
them.
some people.
Like, even in BWL, there are very few mechanically hard bosses. It is mostly a bullet sponge. You literally just burn into it, and your tanks do most of the job.
Yeah.
And then
Well, your tanks and
AQ,
healers.
like, AQ, it's mostly okay. You just burn into bosses until you get to a certain set of twins. And then it's like, oh, Blizzard just, like, turned on a light, and they're like, oh, let's make mechanical bosses. And then from that point on, it's like, holy shit. Like, that boss, the boss after that, and the boss after that, it's like, oh, okay, all right, here we go. Real end game. And then they took that design philosophy and were like, let's create a place where they're just going to get whooped all day.
Let's take that idea and pump it with some steroids.
But
Okay.
I feel like with the, like what you're talking about, and the fact that you have this character that's nobody runs as, because they never had run it. That's exactly why they created this, was because they went, oh shit, we created something that no one uses because they don't have to use them. Now here's this boss that you're gonna have to do it. That's why they did it.
But that's one of the problems, though, is it's like nobody played this spec. Everybody who was playing it probably stopped sometime in BWL because they were having to fight for gear with your classes that you're probably going to prioritize giving that gear to, because the Shadow Priest, like, we don't need that as much. And then they're like, let's make this really important. So now you're forcing you're forcing guilds' hands on, all right, now which one of you priests wants to swap to Shadow? We're going to have to start trying to gear you up so you can do this. It's like, Blizzard, why? Why did you think that was a good idea?
But to be fair, it's not like this game hadn't been out for a minute. and it is one of those things that the guilds should have already
Well,
prepared.
that's true, and this is
would
something
happen.
that specifically for me, I'm experiencing for the first time. I didn't get to do vanilla
Right.
raiding, so I didn't know this was a thing that was gonna, like, I'm playing this all for the first time, essentially. I did not expect that curveball.
I'm going to give Oak a quick rundown of this boss. Okay, so it's a boss and his 4 little flunkies. The
Right.
boss hits like a goddamn train. Like, even me as a big thick boy, that motherfucker walk up to me and smack me so hard, I'm going to see my mama. Like, you do not fuck with this guy.
Right.
So what you have to do is you have to mind control one of his little 4 lackeys and use them to tank the boss, because your tanks can't handle it. So you have to taunt him, and then you put on your shield wall, which reduces damage by like 80% for that, and then you just sit there with his lackey tanking him while all of your DPS beat the shit out of him. While he constantly spams an ability which burns mana. So all of your mana users have to constantly go back and forth out of line of sight so that they don't burn their mana. And he will eventually kill his little lackey, in which a second priest has to mind control another one, run him down there, keep him in position, taunt him, shield wall, and then stay there. And you have to keep doing that until the boss dies.
Which,
like, it is...
I would like
they
to
really
point
stepped
out,
it up.
They really stepped it up, but they're like, let's give Shadow Priest something to do. Like, play their class? No, they're gonna mind control a warrior and play a warrior. They should have picked a real class to start with. Like Blizzard.
Well, to be fair, what we're gonna do next time is I'm just literally gonna run in there with my shield wall on and then put him into place and hope to God that a priest gets another guy in place before I get smacked.
Well, see, the thing that I worry about with that is, like I said, Melly and I are 2 heavy hitters when it comes to healing, and that's not me, you know, look at me, I'm super great. That I can show you charts. I literally am in the top 5 consistently. So you're taking 2 of your top 5s and having to hope that the other ones and the other 3 people in the top 5 can keep up a tank long enough that one of us can mind control one of these dudes, because we cannot heal. So I mean, it's a scary proposition to try to do this with holy priests instead of shadow, but you're hard pressed to see a shadow priest at this point, so it's gotta be what it's gotta be.
In order to get a shadow priest, does somebody have to re-roll, or is it one of those where they can create?
Respec. Like, I could respec right
change.
now to shadow, but the problem is I have holy gear. And holy gear is going to be focused on, I have a lot of plus healing to my gear. I don't have things like crit and hit, which is what, basically when I do this and when Melly does this, we have to change some of our gear pieces to stuff that we would, like, never wear. Because we need 3 hit on it. And that's enough for us to use the mind control and it not miss. And that's something that we don't spec for. So if you want somebody, you can have a cat level person go ahead and swap to shadow, but then you have to run them constantly through other dungeons to get them the gear needed for them to be effective as a DPS instead of a healer. Because our heal gear is not going to do anything for us.
I'm wondering if it wasn't one of those things where they're like, okay, look, we need people to go back through these dungeons again and make it challenging even more.
That's the problem, is we are still in these other dungeons because stuff doesn't drop. RNG is garbage. Oh my god. I can tell you this as somebody that hasn't gotten a gear piece in months, because stuff doesn't drop, and when it does, I lose the roll on it, and that's a whole other can of worms.
I'm on month 7. Let's see, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. I'm on month 8 of running this same dungeon looking for one specific piece every week, by the way.
And it's the first raid that he's rerunning, so
I blame Grif. To be fair, she doesn't have the greatest drop history anyway.
Hey, to be 100% honest, I don't even run that with him, because 1, I do have garbage luck, and 2, they always have enough healers for that raid. I mean, they don't need me. I don't have an alt that is at cap at any point. I picked my class and, like, stuck with it. I all in committed to priest, because it's a class I'd never really played before. So that's a thing. But yeah, we're at that point where it's like, well, we tried this, and everybody was watching me, like, with the first pull, everybody's watching me sneak down the ramp. They're like, go on, Grif, get down there. I'm like, y'all, there's scary things right here, okay? And I feel like I'm getting too close, and I did, because my range isn't long enough, and I didn't know it at that time, but I was like, yo, be quiet. I'm doing things. Let me work up to it. I'm probably about to die. And I did. I did not wipe the raid, though. I did not pull a lyric. Nobody else died but me at that first pull.
Rip lyric. Damn. Yeah, I did throw
His dad
one
listens to the show. He'll tell him. Oh. But yeah, it's been a real eye-opener, and it really made me question why Blizzard did that. Because it really is. This is a spec that never really gets used. Okay, now it's useful, but it's useful for not actually playing its spec. It's useful for playing another character.
Well, to be fair, you can get around that, but like I said, it's the evolution. Like, they started integrating more things into the raids, like more mechanics, more diversity. But to be fair, with all the min-maxers, they literally don't care. They just burn everything.
Yeah, but we're not really a guild full of min-maxers. I mean, we have a couple that know exactly what needs to happen in what order and what gear and all of that, and it's very focused on this is the best and the only way to go, but they're not so much min-maxers that they're going to yell at the rest of us, which is nice. But it does mean that we struggle a little. If we were all min-maxers, we would have already stomped this place. But what fun is that? I mean, play what you want to play, man. I'm a big advocate for that. So, aside from
we played a bunch of ARK too.
Yeah, we did that too. Some
shitload of ARK.
Side. Because things keep spawning in our yard. Why?
But they're not supposed to.
Yeah, like theoretically we built a fence, so that should prevent spawns, but it's not. I don't understand.
Maybe we should just run around it and just put random pillars all about in here.
I don't worry. We have a shitload of carnivores now, and they're all on neutral. So let something walk up in there.
Yeah,
man.
We got 3 T-Rexes.
We have a pack of T-Rexes over on the side.
Pillars
neutral.
won't stop respawns. Bases like the foundations stop respawn.
Yeah, it's the foundation.
I put foundations all across this.
Yeah,
motherfucker.
We've got some scattered, which is why I don't understand why they're still respawning, but they are.
Yeah.
But like you said, we went on. Yesterday was the great T-Rex hunt day. Where we were going to go initially attempt to find at least 1, and we came back with 3. So.
I fucking love the Pokeballs, first of all. Those things are so convenient. God damn.
Our first T-Rex is pink. Yay. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like a fuchsia. It's like fuchsia and orange with a red stripe on it. Sometimes I don't understand how ARK picks the color schemes that it does, but I'm not going to question it.
The Pokeballs and the large bear traps make getting big dinos so easy.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Especially like you put down a bear trap, you lure it in, and as soon as you hear that thing go click, all 3 of us jump off our birds and shoot it in the face with trank darts. And then by the time it breaks the trap free, it's like, oh god, no! And then you shoot it in the ass a couple of times and down it goes.
It is straight an ambush. Like, you have to convince the dinosaur to follow you, which T-Rexes have the attention span of a 3-year-old. It's like, I'm gonna eat you. I'm gonna look at this thing over here. I'm gonna eat instead. You're like, wait, me. Follow me. So
yeah, and then it gets itself into some damn precarious situations where you got to try to swoop in to protect it. It's like, stop fighting that. No.
Yes.
Self-preservation.
Going after everything, and then went after a mated pair of Brados, so I had to interfere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to try to keep them alive and then lure them into a trap.
It's not a Giga that's just going to attack you no matter what.
Oh, there was one that we were really close to on a mountain where it's like, please don't.
Oh, I really want to tame that one. It is just pure red.
Yeah.
Like, it is just a solid red, a bright red all the way. It is glorious. Granted, that motherfucker.
I want to say ours was like, the one that we had was like beige or something.
I will tame it, and then I will put it out in the river on Wander and Aggressive and just let it do its business, because it ain't coming upstairs. It is not coming upstairs. That motherfucker will be downstairs somewhere.
Man. We did get another... we found a rare, actually. We went... Initially, our T-Rex night was gonna be Friday, and so we went to Carno Island looking for one. We took a boat around. Well, I took a boat, and my sister rode with me, and then... Baka and Chicken were on their birds, and we were gonna go find a T-Rex, and we're almost to Carno Isle, and Chicken goes, "What's that?" Baka's like, "Is that a horse?" Chicken's like, "That's a unicorn. We found a freaking unicorn."
Oh, wow.
So Baka and Chicken, like, one of them picks it up on their bird and brings it over, because with Carno Isle, there's this big island and then this small island right next to it that has nothing on it. Thank God. We basically had Baka hold the unicorn like with his bird while the rest of us are chopping down every tree on that island to make a pin for it. So that we can put it down. And the thing is, with unicorns, with the horses in general, you have to basically put on a ghillie suit and then sneak up to it on the ground and feed it. And once you fed it, you can jump up on it and you have to ride it to break it like a wild horse in like Red Dead or something. And you can't do that if they're already, like, basically we built this tiny pen and dropped it in. And it's like, I can see all of you already. I don't know why you think I would be calm in here. So, after all of that, we ended up, there was no T-Rex on the island anyway, so that was a wash. So we had Baka and Chicken fly this horseback, but they had to do it in tandem because your birds run out of stamina. So you've got one of them carrying the horse and the other one flying behind them. And they're like, all right, let's swap. You'll have to put the horse down. The next one has to pick it up and keep going. It was like this, like, chain.
And that motherfucker, as soon as one of us would drop it, that thing would be like, I'm out. And it would just book it. At one point, I dropped it, and that motherfucker went up the hill, and Bucky's like, oh, shit. He's like, get back. He fucking caught it in the underbrush up on the hill before it tried to run away.
Yeah.
Using stamina just to try to recatch the damn
Exactly, because it would book it and you'd have to sprint to try to catch it.
That's why my bird has a crap ton of stamina.
Yes, he could fly a lot further than I could. I would just kind of pick it up intermittently and carry it a little bit further.
Well, and the cat and I are on this boat, and the biggest fish out there swims up behind us and starts trying to murder us on the boat. I'm like, seriously, right now? Right now?
The Megalosaurus.
No, it wasn't the Megalosaurus. It's the... I can't remember what that thing is called. But it does
the
start with an M.
Mosasaurus.
Yeah, Mosasaurus. It's
Mosasaurus.
huge, and it's trying to eat my boat. And it ate one of the little, like, chests that I had on the boat that had our saddles for the T-Rexes in it. I was like, really?
And our large bear traps.
It's like the damn crocodiles on frickin' Atlas. They were horrible.
Oh, the crocodiles in ARK are bad.
You could hardly outrun them.
The little crocodiles, the cats in the trees, and the microraptors are the worst thing in the world because they knock you off your mount.
The little pack animals that will knock you out but do like 1 point of damage every time they hit you. It's just I hate those things because they're like, we're never going to kill you because you have so much health, but we've made you fall down on the ground and you can't stop us from poking at you. Like, I hate these things. I hate them. I want to set them all on fire. What else have we played? We need to talk about some news.
We need to go cave exploring in ARK today, Chicken.
Yes, we do. I'm going to get my cat. My cat's leveled up, so I can take him in there pretty strong. He's pretty damn strong. So I can bet he will protect me.
Mm-hmm. What else y'all want?
We need to get some stuff. I think that's everything that we've played. Just making sure. Come on, some of this improv stuff is more fun.
I did some bloodstain going through as the guy.
Oh, how much different
how did you
is
like
it?
it?
Is it very different?
You get no items, so like potions and stuff. You can't heal yourself.
Wow, it really is hard mode.
I have not seen an option for upgrades. Like there's no chest or anything. You can like level up, and you can get the MP up things and the HP up things as you find them. But yeah, there's no normal chest. It's pretty much just going straight to like bosses and stuff. When you're going through at first, it's like, oh well, he's overpowered. He's one-shotting everything on the boat, and a few hits, and the boss is dead, and you continue on. And then as you go through the game, it starts to like your power starts to plateau out, since you don't have the ability to heal yourself or anything unless you go to a save.
Oof. Is there, like, you don't have any life steal or anything? It's just don't get hit?
Don't be
bad. I haven't noticed any life steal or anything, no.
Don't get hit. Rip. Damn.
But I've only
definitely
defeated,
hard,
I haven't gotten to the blood boss lady yet. I defeated the hand thing. I defeated himself. And then just for the hell of it, I fought Richter.
Just to see.
The war horse boss in the secret room, you had to have the key for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's how I found out. Like I almost died in that one because I was like, oh crap, I wasn't really paying much attention, and then I went to go heal myself, and I was like, okay, I have to be careful in this.
So playing the
Yeah,
Dean
it's one of those
character is
things where
just
you're like,
setting the game to hardcore.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
No thanks.
And there's other things in the map that have changed, like the part where you had to have the armor chests where you didn't get hurt by spikes to get through the little pathway. All those spikes are gone.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, that makes sense, seeing as how you can't put on armor or anything. So.
Well, good luck to you, Baka. Jeez.
Yeah. Good luck.
That's a choice.
Well, I mean, I like those kinds of games.
I'm sure you're gonna make it just fine. Next week the update will be I finished the game without dying ever because I'm awesome.
I'm sure I'll probably die at some point either way.
Alright, well let's talk about some news because there's some stuff to get through and we spent a lot of time talking about things we played this week, which is fine.
Hey,
it's
that's what
fine.
people listen to us to talk about shit.
Yes.
And
That's
things.
right.
Chicken has been getting hit in the feels all week by a specific game company who has a new game on the way, or several. Pokemon has just been straight up punch a chicken in the feels with its tweets about remember when you were doing this year and playing this game? It's like, oh.
I'm gonna find the tweets and then I will read them to you. And let's
It's
go
all
all
done.
the way back to 1999. 22
Okay.
years ago, for the record.
Yeah, I was 22 in 1999.
Wow,
22
really?
years ago.
Yep.
Sometimes I forget there's a significant age gap between us.
Anyway,
Like you think, you old bastard.
No, I was like 22. I was still in school.
damn, you old.
That was
You
not. I'm
old, brother.
sorry. That's just how I'm sorry. That's how my brain did.
Anyway.
I was still in high school.
Yeah.
I was in junior high, like right at the beginning of junior high. No, I was still in elementary. Maybe 1999. I was
The
9.
young one.
You were 9.
I am the young one. I was 9. I was 9 years old.
Your same age as Nut. That
well,
perspective.
22
Anyway,
years. Anyway, they tweeted out the year is 1999. You walk into the cafeteria, pull out your Game Boy, and begin playing Pokemon Yellow Special Pikachu Edition. Across the table, your friends are trading Pokemon cards. You're going to see Pokemon the first movie on Saturday, which I did see Pokemon the first movie when it first came out back in 1999, and I saw a late showing, which I think was one of the final showings for the day. And because they were giving out promo cards, I asked the dude, because I was a sweet little 9-year-old kid, I was like, can I have some? And this dude, praise be to this dude, fucking pulled out a pile and was like, here you go. So I got like a stack of the Ancient Mew cards and all of the promo Dragonites and Pikachus and all that shit. And he's like, here you go. You can have all of these since we're closing up and whatnot. And I was like, oh, a little 9-year-old kid like me was stoked. Like, I was so happy.
Aw.
Your
I got to
story
take them all home.
Of that is a lot more wholesome than mine. Mine was I went to go see it. I knew the guy who was at the ticket place, and he just like, here's all the cards. I know you like this shit.
Nice.
I don't remember getting cards. I went to see it, but I don't remember getting cards.
Oh, I got.
Yeah, I
I
got
definitely
cards
didn't go
too.
see it.
I think, I don't know, I still might have one in my wallet that I like to carry around. Let's not show off my credit cards and all that stuff.
please
And
don't.
also, by the way, the same dude took several of the cards to school and sold them to some of the kids there as well. So,
Nice.
Typical capitalism.
mhm.
And then the following tweet, it was, okay, the year is 2000. You watch episodes of Pokemon The Johto Journeys every Saturday morning on Kids WB, which, yeah, I watched a lot of Kids WB way back then. You're playing Pokemon Gold. Your friend's playing Pokemon Silver. You're both about to battle Ho-Oh and Lugia for the first time.
Hit you in the feels.
You know, my mom she did the best she could. I'm not gonna say she was best, but she did the best she could. And I got to walk to GameStop, which was about a mile when I was 11 years old, to go and pick that up. So
Nice.
I
Put in the
played
legwork.
the shit out of it though. And every morning before school, I'd watch a couple of episodes of Pokemon and Sailor Moon before I went to school.
But they're doing the retro things because it's Diamond and Pearl that are getting remakes. Is that right?
Well, they're doing it for
I
the
mean,
25th anniversary.
They remade Soul Silver, like Gold and Silver, basically. But which,
Ah.
by the way, Chicken, I got me another copy, so I can start. I have to start all over again. But
Hey, that's okay.
that way
I got
we
mine
can
over
fight.
here somewhere. I got it somewhere in here.
Nerds.
I think it's
Y'all are
over
so
there.
cute.
Over there. We're all
and
nerds.
it's even on a Pikachu 3DS.
See, we're all nerds.
And I have a case that is got a big Pokeball on it.
So are they
That it goes.
Nice.
are they re-releases or are they reboots, remasters? What are we
They're-
talking here?
They're
More
remakes,
or less,
aren't
they're
they?
going to be remakes where they just upgrade the engine and kind of slick everything out. Like the original Heart Gold or the original Gold and Silver, were really good. And then when they remade Heart Gold and Soul Silver, they kind of update everything in the game to more modern standards. Same thing is going to be when they do. I can't remember the name of these guys. Shiny Diamond and
Brilliant
Something
Diamond and
like
Shiny
They're
Pearl.
recreating
Brilliant
the
Diamond
game and the story on like a whole new engine. They're updating the engine, so like all the little easier life conveniences that they've made to the system over the years, especially like the menu options and stuff, will probably be in there.
People are
But, like,
likening it to Link's Awakening remake.
Yeah.
On how it was redone with that chibi style. So I think I'm interested in it because I like that style of look and all that. And recently getting into the Pokemon stuff, it's nice to that they're modernizing these games that you all enjoy so much. So my kids will get into it, I'll get into it, that type of thing too.
I will say that I'm not like Gen 4, which is what this is not my area of expertise. I kind of 1, 2, and 3 were my peak eras of Pokemon, like, and then this is Gen 4, and I just kind of fell off, and I got interested in other things, and I didn't follow the Pokemon scene. So I'm sure there are Pokemon fanatics, if they feel as strongly as I do for 1, 2, and 3, they're so hyped for this to finally get it, which Yeah,
I finished Diamond and Pearl originally, but I had to force myself to finish them for some reason. So that was kind of where like my Pokemon, like I kept getting the games even after, but like I'd probably get maybe like halfway through it and I would just lose interest in it because something about it or something in the story just wasn't keeping my attention.
Yeah, I mean, just the style of game, I don't know, it just kind of didn't catch me like the earlier ones did. So, I mean, sometimes you just try to overcomplicate things and you try to change things too much from the original, and you just don't hit that same niche as you did back then.
Well,
but
that's
on
anything
top
with
of-
a sequel of any kind, right? So
Yeah, that is very true.
because you don't want to, and the thing is Pokemon has the same thought process, right? Which is, go out, capture these. You got some type of plot line that goes along, whatever, and you're battling it out, and then
Some
the end game.
evil organization
so
wants
you gotta
to
be
rule
able
or
to
destroy
variety.
the world.
Hmm.
What, Baka?
So some evil organization wants to rule and destroy the world. What was it with Ruby and Sapphire? It was like two different factions. One was like we're going to destroy the world
Team
with
Aqua.
fire, and then the other one wanted to destroy it with water. It's like
Yeah, that one was actually really evil because one wanted to wake up Groudon, which would have covered the earth in magma, and then the other one wanted to wake up Kyogre, which would have flooded the entire planet. So they were both dumbasses. Just to put it straightforward, you guys are gonna die too if you wake these guys up in that sense.
Right. So along with the
I love it.
old school stuff, we got a new announcement for a new game.
Something people have been fucking asking for years.
Oh, yeah? Well, what is it?
Pokemon Legends Arceus is what this one's called. We actually had to look up the pronunciation, by the way, to make sure we
Arceus.
pronounced it correctly.
What?
Thank you, Google. But the interesting thing to me, basically, people are comparing this to like Breath of the Wild, like the way that it looks and all that. It looks like an open world style Pokemon game, different style, and one game versus 2 games being released at one time as well.
Right.
I'm excited about this one. I think it's got a good feel to it, and it's supposed to. It looks like they're focusing more on plot versus, just the standard style too. So I think that's neat.
So people know, if you've watched any of this podcast at any point, I love medieval Japan. Like that feudal era is where I fucking like dig. Like, I will play games in that era like constantly.
Did you ever play Pokemon Conquest then?
Pokemon Conquest? I don't know. I'm gonna look it up right now.
It's basically Pokemon with another style game, but it was like the feudal Japan.
I think I did play. I think I tried this one. Yeah, I rented this one and tried it, and it was really weird. Like it was it was not like a strategy game. Yeah, it was definitely
it's combined with a different series, but with like Pokemon on the skin of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was different for sure. But this one takes place in the feudal era of Japan. And I think one of the neat things about it is that they picked 3 starters from different generations, and they picked them all because they have a tie into feudal Japan. All right, let's see if I can do this. Rowlet, which is the owl one, his final form is like an archer. And then you have Oshawott, which is the little blue penguin. His final form is like a samurai. What?
It's an otter, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an otter.
You said penguin.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, his final form does look like a
penguin. Pepla is the penguin one. But...
Oh yeah, that's right. I don't know that one. That one's I think.
Learn your fucking Pokemon. God.
That's further down. That's further away from where I stopped paying attention at, because I don't care about those two. Like whatever.
Nerd fight.
Because they picked my favorite starter, hands down.
Don't
like
make
period.
The HMO one, you chicken.
Whatever. It's out of my generation. Sorry. You young kids and your new Pokemon things, But
you and I do this.
yeah. Cyndaquil is part of the Gen 2 starters, and originally because he's like a little almost like an anteater style with flames on his back, and further generations they removed the flames from his back, which is not cool. So they gave him his flames back, which is super cool. And everybody was trying to figure out how does he fit into the feudal era, and it's because his final form is called Typhlosion. And in Japanese, it's Bakufun. And it's a play on the word Bakufu, which translates into Shogunite. So he's the shogun, a military leader in feudal Japan. So that's where they get all 3 of these links into this era, which I'm super stoked. I can't wait to get in there and play. The gameplay looks a little hollow.
You're going with.
Oh, hell yeah. Easily. The moment I saw the Cyndaquil, I was like, I got you. I don't know how many times I have beaten the shit out of Pokemon Heart Gold with Typhlosion as my big dog. But the game kind of looks a little hollow right now, which I think is because it's early development. But hopefully they'll kind of make the world feel a little bit more alive. Because, yeah, there are Pokemon roaming around, but it doesn't feel the same if there aren't other like trainers and whatnot in the world too, kind of doing their thing, or you can battle them or whatnot. I hope that there's more to it than just literally a giant open world where you run around and capture Pokemon, which I assume they're going to do a story. It's probably going to be a very important, focus on the story, but we'll see. Next year is when they're looking to release this one, so that's nice. It's kind of soon-ish.
Soon.
Trademark. The Cyndaquil is based off a honey badger. My bad. And honey badgers don't give a fuck.
True.
It's coming out next year, you said?
Yeah, 2022, I think is when
it'll just come out alongside this Halo TV series that's coming out next year at the start of the year at some point. Y'all.
Yes.
We've only been waiting on it forever.
Is this real? I mean,
It's real.
we've had rumors of Halo movies and TV shows that were coming at this date for like since the series came out. So, you know, it's been a little while. Is this real? Like, bets on whether or not it's coming out.
It's going to debut on Paramount Plus, which I don't know if you guys have seen a commercial for Paramount Plus, but goddamn, if I see another commercial for it, God.
It used to be the CBS one, and they just decided to do Paramount Plus to combine all their stuff. Their CBS All Access that they had before.
You know, I'm just going to get cable to get all these networks.
As for it being real, yes, this was the announcement from 2013 or whatever we had from Steven Spielberg, but it took 5 years from that announcement to get somebody on board to help fund it.
Nobody wants to fucking be part of this thing if it fails.
What's so crazy is the first of all, you've got an entire company, Netflix, that's putting all their hat into video game movies and TV shows right now. It amazes me they're not the ones that are doing this. But the other thing about it is if you remember, originally we were supposed to have a Halo TV series or Halo movie, which was supposed to be headed by Neil Blomkamp and produced by Peter Jackson. And nobody wanted Neil Blomkamp because they didn't know who he was, even though he was handpicked by Peter Jackson. And so that completely got rid of it the last time. But they were the ones that did the little short movies leading up to Halo 3. Mm-hmm. Neil Blomkamp was the one that did all those, which were excellent.
Was it Halo 3?
So now it was Halo 3 because they end with the Chief entering into the atmosphere.
Okay.
And because Chief is a badass, he can drop 2,000 feet out of the air and slam into the ground and still survive.
But he can't swim, you guys.
I mean, come on, have you seen the armor that he's protected in?
The armor... You know how much he weighs?
I think we lost Oak. He froze in a good one. Look at him. Look at him. Okay.
If he disappears, your cameras are going to get thrown off.
Yeah, if he disappears, I'll have to reset our stuff. Let's see.
I can still hear you.
Wait, he caught up.
Oh, nice.
Caught up, but it was a good freeze frame. You did it. You got the...
He did it. He knew it was coming too. He's like... All right, anyway, let's stay on the
thing.
But...
Distracted by tech.
But I'm excited about it because Spielberg happens to be part of that. He's the sci-fi guy when we think of movies, and he's big on storytelling as well.
Yeah, that's gonna bother me. His video is desynced from his audio, everybody. So whoever's watching this on YouTube, I can see it happening in real time right now. Sorry.
Oh God, he's laughing, and then you can hear him laughing, and then you see him.
I'm sorry. Okay, just don't look at him and do the rest of the show, okay?
Don't look at him. Just ignore him.
I'll keep an eye on him to make sure he doesn't freeze again.
I'm fucking dying right now.
I'm keeping cautious optimism for it because, TV, it's a TV series, so at least there is some way that they can do an extended and it can be good. I'm just interested where they're going to take it.
Stop looking at him.
I'm not looking at him.
Okay, that's a no for me then. Sorry. My face hurts. I don't know what to expect, and I think it's weird that they've got 60% of the show done because it had to be paused because the whole, COVID thing happened. And it is still happening, but they're back to filming. So we'll see, but I kind of wonder how that... Sometimes it hurts projects when they have to stop at a certain point and they have to come back to it for some reason. Like, even if you still got the same script and everything, because there's that break, there's a little bit of a disjointedness when you come back into it. I hope that doesn't happen.
Okay, the phrase of the sentence: shooting is now back underway with around 60% of its first season in the can. Like, trash can?
No, like 60% is done. In the can is an old film term because it used to be on reels that you put into a metal can.
Because your old film comes in a can.
Yes.
That's fine. Yes. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that they weren't having to throw out 60.
Film history.
Starting over again. But hopefully it'll be good. I just want to know where it's gonna take place. Like, are we doing before Halo, before Reach? Are we doing this
going
better take
over
place
the whole
in the same
series
universe.
From Combat Evolved to wherever they choose to stop at?
First of all, if they do that,
I hope it has nothing to do with anything except it's in the universe.
I would love to see a live action version of the whole Halo, like Halo 1, 2, and 3, because first of all, playing that is really fun. Watching it would be incredible. Come on. If they do the cinematography really well, watching Chief have more movements than literally, like watching him slide over tables and kick elites in the face and like shoot him, like
Aw.
you could make Chief into a super badass.
He is a super badass. You shut up.
Yeah, but he has no moves. He literally just
The
stomps.
problem you'd run into is at some point you would end up having to take that helmet off, and no Halo fan wants that.
No, none of us.
Why
want
would you
that.
ever have to take that helmet off?
Maybe
Because if you're trying to tell a real storyline, that's why you have the whole time. It's because
No.
Well,
You
the other part of that is it's not going to, like, the real Halo fans are not going to want the helmet to come off. But the people who are not fans of the game and know nothing about it are going to demand that helmet come off.
Well, they can shut up
Yeah,
and
it's-
sit back. It's not for them.
Well,
Well, but
The problem is that
the
they
non-removal
make
of
the
the
biggest-
helmet is going to be the thought process people are going to have, especially if they're not familiar with the series. Is the Mandalorian just came out, that's kind of the premise behind the whole Mandalorian. Is he doesn't take his helmet off, nobody sees him that way or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's
that's
like
bullshit.
that whole thought process. They'll be like, they're just trying to be
He's
like the
taking-
Mandalorian.
He's taken his
Motherfucker,
helmet
they've been
off
doing it since way
multiple
before
times.
them. He
Oh.
better not remove his helmet, or I will, like, every gamer will boycott that motherfucker. Like, I will burn down that place. There will be no Master Chief helmet removal. Damn it.
Well, usually.
Or he could take his helmet off and it's just like a blank face and it's all creepy.
No, nobody's gonna want
Here,
that.
here,
either.
I got
Nobody
a perfect
wants any of
segue
that.
into. I got a perfect segue into more conversation for the rest of them. If he ever does take his helmet off, when he takes it off, it's gonna be Henry Cavill underneath. Like, I mean, there's no other person better than Henry Cavill to play.
First of all, I love Henry Cavill, but no, nobody needs to see Master Chief's face. It's the thing that I have said since they wanted to do that little mini reveal at the end of 4. Nobody needs that.
No,
None of us need it.
no.
All right. So yeah, let's talk about Henry Cavill because, I mean, he is maybe going to work on another space-related game franchise, which is maybe possibly Mass Effect. Or maybe he's just messing with us. I mean, who knows?
Maybe.
I mean, Henry Cavill is video games now. So.
Well, he took up an Instagram photo, and this is where this all came from. He took an Instagram photo while he was getting hair and makeup done for Witcher, in which he had some papers, and he's like, is this a secret project or just a bunch of papers? And it has, like, the words are blurred, but you can put them through pictures through programs that will clear that up. And once you cleared
Which
it up,
he knew.
it had stuff like Cerberus, Reaper, Geth, Tali'Zorah, and a whole paragraph, like part of a paragraph from one of the Mass Effect wikis, Mass Effect 3 wiki. So, is it for a new project? Or is he just getting hyped because he's ready for the remaster to come out?
First of all, like, how does this dude have time to film The Witcher, to do a new secret project, by the way, to do other Netflix projects, and raid in WoW all at the same time?
That boy
Like, this
just
dude
does
is
not sleep.
legendary.
Ugh.
He
Like,
also
honestly-
paints miniatures.
What was that, Baka?
He also paints miniatures.
Oh yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
yes,
He's also
like-
Superman, isn't he?
Yeah.
yes.
So-
I think
That's
so.
his side job though. That doesn't really count.
Yes, like,
Doesn't count. They just did a shit ton of $70 million worth of reshoots for
There's actually
the Justice League.
To try to salvage a movie that is already bad.
well, let's
like,
not get
I
into
think
that.
there's
Look,
no
that's
solid-
not
yeah,
what
let's
we're
not
here
get
for.
into that. To be fair, who else would hype up your project than him? Like, I mean, if you're gonna have somebody announce your project, you do it like this. You let him do it. You let his fan base just kind of, oh my god, is he doing Mass Effect? Oh my god, like everybody gets stoked and whatnot because as fans, we all love Henry Cavill. He is as true and genuine as you can be as an actor.
I
Like,
love
he
him.
tries to connect with people as well as he can. Like, I mean, everything from being such a perfect Geralt to streaming his PC builds and painting miniatures. Like, you feel like you know this guy. Like, you know what kind of person he is, and he seems like a really, really good dude.
I love him.
So, if we had to pick a face for video games, I'm glad it's him.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna, okay, I will say though, it's gonna be really interesting to see if they do a Mass Effect project that they go with Mel Shepherd, because female Shepherd has such a huge following. Like, for a lot of people, Lady Shep is the face of Mass Effect.
Maybe he's just doing voice work for a new game.
I mean, that's possible too. There was a rumor that they were doing another Mass Effect game that was not going to be a follow-up to Andromeda, so it's possible.
Let him play Mario too. I'll watch it.
I don't know if I'd watch that. I don't think I want him to be Mario.
Set in the old universe, or maybe he's going to be the Bell voice for the new hero.
Maybe. I mean, I'd play that.
Whatever he wants to do, I will watch it. That dude brings like passion to everything that he does.
Yes.
Like, he does his research, and he knows how to act. Like, I mean, watching him in The Witcher, it's like you could not have cast anybody better than him as Geralt.
The only thing I have not liked him in is the DC stuff.
I think he's been fine. I mean, he's definitely not the fucking best ever, but I think he did his part fine.
And it's not to me. It's not his fault really. In that it's more of how it's being handled by Warner Brothers and the script and the directors. And he's working with what he's got.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like him, he is doing his part as best as he can, but an actor can't rewrite the script. I mean, you can't be like, I'm going to improv this part and make it better. You got to do what's in the script. So, I mean, everybody who watches stuff and, video games, if you don't know him, you should definitely learn who he is.
Well, speaking of big, let's just transition into another story with a really bad crossover. So Activision's telling people that there may be a problem with Call of Duty series fitting on their PS4s because of how much space everything needs. And might I remind you, that's a 500 gig hard drive that they're talking about their game not fitting on. Excuse me?
Mm-hmm.
What now?
If you read further down on the thing, though, it says it's basically... they're saying if you have everything from the last one, which was Modern Warfare, and Cold War, and Warzone, so it's 3 games essentially,
so
mixed together.
Game.
But even
this is one of the things that I really hate.
But even then, you can now pick what you have from each one of the games too. So if you finish the campaign, you can delete the campaigns.
But this is one of the things that I hate about where we're at with gaming and consoles is it is now a game of Tetris to decide what you want to keep on your console with the hard drive that it comes with versus, what will actually fit. Instead of it being like, I'm just going to put in this game because I feel like playing it today. It's, okay, now let's install this game. Okay, this game is like going to be 20 gigs, but we need you to have 50 gigs cleared so that we can install it. So pick something out of the things that you already have installed to get rid of. Okay, well, I don't really need all of this game, so I guess I could take part of it off. And this is not inventory games. This is not an inventory minigame in a freaking Resident Evil game. What is this? Why do we have to do this?
You gotta understand. Like, I could download ARK 4 times, 4.5 times, and it would be about the same size as those 3 games. And ARK is a big-ass game.
Well, but to be fair, you're only playing one part of ARK. There's like 5-6 more sections of ARK that if you combine those together, it would still equal one of those games, but still.
I mean, you are releasing a game.
That's not being fair. That's just being blunt about it. They need to get their shit in order for console stuff.
I completely agree because you're releasing it every year, and by year 3, you're like, well, shit. That's only playing Call of Duty 2, by the way.
Part of the problem they're running into, and it's not necessarily their size completely. It's what it is when you're dealing with a PC update of some sort. So let's say the 17 gigabyte update that they just recently had on a PC, they're able to pinpoint what's taken out and what's put back in. Mm-hmm. Where on a console, they have to remove sections of the game, which is why it's 100. It'll tell you it needs 100 gigabyte
to install with 17 gig.
17 gigabyte download when you're reading the article. It's just they have to download and upload differently, and sometimes you'll see a PC update might be 5 gigabyte, and the console version of it might be 10. And it's because they're having to do that
We really need to find, since we are turning our consoles into mini PCs, we really need to find a better way for this to work. Because that's crazy to me that it's like, this update is 17 gigs. Please clear 100 gigs of space. I mean, that, just reading that and having that warning pop up, you're like, but it's only 17, why do I need 100 free? Why don't you just tell me that I need 100 gigs for this? That this update is 100 gigs.
Well, to be fair, for most of us, it takes up 0 gigs of hard drive space. So.
Well, yes, we don't play Call of Duty, but it is a problem for console in general.
Takes up plenty of mine, I promise.
So, and yes, Oak does play it.
Well, I highly doubt that you have all full versions of all 3 games.
I have the multiplayer version of Modern Warfare, and I have the entire full game of Cold War on there, and then I have Modern War, and then I have Warzone. Warzone's the one that hardly ever gets touched. The rest of them all get touched.
Okay, there's one sentence in this article though that I wanted to ask about, because I don't have the PS5 or anything. And it says there's currently no way to move PS5 games off the solid state. So does that mean like once you download a PS5 game, it's gonna live on that hard drive forever? Because it's a solid
you have to
state
delete
drive?
it.
Holy shit!
You delete it, and then you can put it on another drive.
Oh, okay, so they're just saying you can't like file transfer it to another place. You have to delete the game.
Right now,
okay.
you can take your PlayStation 4 stuff and
like,
move it over to your PlayStation 5, but you can't do that with the PlayStation 5.
For a second, I was like, so this is a write drive where you're completely
external.
writing everything and you're not allowed to remove it once it's written on the drive? That's why I was confused. Thank you.
No.
That's why I asked.
It just means if you put an auxiliary on it, you can't transfer it from the solid state to an
I'm
auxiliary.
asking the dumb question so nobody else has to. Gotcha.
And here's my thing, and I know that for some people they do have to worry about having a cap and things like that. But for those people that don't have a cap and want to do this, I bought an 8 terabyte drive not too long ago that I've got hooked up to my Series X, and it costs like $140. Save up for $140, put it on your console, and download all your shit to it. And if you need to transfer some of the stuff over, literally delete it, and then when you go to bed at night, start your download and have a nice day. By the time you want to play it, it's ready.
I like that playing games have turned into Tetris now. You have to.
Yeah.
It's an inventory
reading this article
minigame.
too. Reading this article, it looks like the idea of archiving PlayStation 5 games to external media is now under active consideration by Sony. It says that explorations for allowing players to store, so you can move a game to an external, but you can't play it. You basically are like, all right, you sit on the shelf right here and wait. And let me download this. Okay, now I can move it back. Like, you can't play games off external. It has to be on the solid state in order to run.
But it has an option to hook up an external on the actual menu. I saw it yesterday.
It says right here that explorations allowing players to store, parentheses, but not play, PS5 games on a USB drive in the future update are on the way.
So I guess
It's
they've
like,
already
you can
put a thing on there for it, but they haven't implemented it yet?
You could store games on the
That's
USB
weird.
external, but you can't play it. Like,
okay.
Like, what
Why
the
is
fuck?
it? Why can I do something on a PS4 I can't do on a PS5? That makes no sense.
Because
Reasons.
I think the way the PS5 runs, it runs specifically off of the solid state drive. Like, it can't. I guess it's just not programmed right to run off of an HDD.
I guess.
Like, it only
I
runs
mean,
off of the solid state.
But like even like the Avengers game is 70 fucking gig. So like everything's 70 to 100 and something gig that you're gonna put on the game on the system. That makes no sense.
It doesn't.
But I mean, I think that's what they want you to be able to do, though, is basically, it's almost like old school gaming where you take the disc out of the solid state drive, stick it on your bookshelf, and then you take the game that you want to play and stick it on the solid state drive so that you can play, which I'm not a fan of at all. If that's how it works, that sounds terrible.
It's weird. It really is an inventory minigame in real life now. That's all it is. Good thing most of you people have been playing Resident Evil and other things like that. Other things like that to let you learn, so that now that it's a real applicable skill,
other
you're
than
ready.
the exclusivities, PlayStation has nothing then. because I can take my 8 terabyte drive, put it on my Series X, and literally that's what I'm running my games off of.
Oh.
Everything goes onto it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well.
What?
I mean,
So
there has to be
confused.
something wrong in that. But I mean, from what I read you exactly what it said on that
Yeah.
link.
Yeah, I'll check it out in the meantime before next week and see if I can run anything off it. If not, then I'm just like, what? I don't get it.
Well, another news around tech problems. This will kind of lead us into a big chunk of stuff, but the Cyberpunk update that was supposed to come out has been delayed because during that hack that happened last week or week before last, a lot of the people were completely locked out of their workstations. Well, they couldn't work on it, which means now it's not ready. So now we don't get an update because hackers are dicks. Would like to point
And those
that
assholes wanted to punish them for releasing a bad game.
out. Yeah.
And now
they
they can't
continued-
even fucking fix it.
We're mad
Like,
because
oh.
the game you've released and are still working on was garbage, so we're gonna prevent you from continuing to make it better so that it's not still garbage because we're really
that
smart
way
hackers
they-
and you got epically pwned, bro.
And that way, they can complain more that it's still broken.
Yeah. We're doing this. It's like the meme with somebody sticking the stick in the spokes of the bicycle. Stupid developers. Like,
Right?
what?
Mad that they haven't released a patch, sticks the sticks in there, hacks them. Damn it, CD Projekt Red, why can't you release
See,
it?
this
Like,
is
Why
why
can't you
the
fix your
movies
broken
need to be
game?
right with the tracing shit, and they need to be able to put tracing stuff in this because these people need to be eliminated for just being dumb.
Yeah.
Like, I'm smart enough to. I have it goes. Well, it's the Jurassic Park line, right? They thought about could we do this? They didn't think about should we do this.
Yes.
So
I feel like
just
that's
because you
applicable
can
to a
doesn't
lot
mean
of
you
stuff.
should.
But yeah,
uh,
that's where we're at. That's why we're not getting an update. The 1.2 patch is gonna come out, but it'll be delayed. Because they
Second
had to
half
get
of
back
March.
in. I mean, they're even asking people to send their workstations into CD Projekt Red's tech team. Basically, it's like, you're working from home, but we need you to pack up that tower and ship it to us because we need to make sure there's nothing else that's on it.
Yeah, because they're worried about malware.
Yeah.
And I can't really blame them on
No,
that.
they're
That's-
being very
'cause
thorough.
Obviously, it got into the system somehow.
Yeah.
And whether they figured out how it was breached or not, I don't know. But I guess that's a good way of doing it. Send it in. It would
that one dude
surprise
is
me if there was an
working from
inside
home.
job somewhere.
oh, I have no doubt. Getting that kind of access, there was somebody disgruntled out there that was like, you know what, fuck these guys, and opened up the back door.
Well, that's being delayed. Second half of March is now when it should be here, theoretically. We'll see. They're still getting stuff back online and fixing things, and I mean, I want them to fix it because I love that game, and I want everybody else to be able to experience it in as little, bugs as possible. So, I love it. But that's not the only one, that they're not the only ones that are having some issues with things being delayed or canceled altogether or, just completely swapped around because Paradox, who is behind Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, please don't have a title that long ever again. Yeah, they just completely canned the people that were working on that game. Like, I guess it wasn't coming along
Which
the way
were
it
the
should have
people
been.
that were originally working on the first one too, right?
Yeah, I
like
think
it was the same
so.
company.
Mhm.
So yeah, now that game that was planned to be launched this year is not. How far along in development is this game? Because you
There
just
were,
fired the team working on it.
There were people who were playing like early demos and builds of the game, so it was along fairly well.
The worst thing about it is that when Nintendo does it, like if a game is not up to Nintendo standards, they're perfectly fine with being like, shut it down. We'll start over somewhere else. But this one just...
Like, they let it
It
go for
feels
so
different.
long. It was supposed to
Yeah, it
launch
feels-
last year, and now this year, and this is the year, like, you already missed your launch window. What would have happened if you would have launched it last year? What's
what's
going on here?
I want to praise them for shutting it down if it's not up to their standards, but it's like, what the hell took you so long? Like,
Yeah,
what
why did it take
happened
so long to get to
so
this
far
point?
towards the end that it was like, shut it down? burn it to the ground. Let's start over. It's like, what
so
happened?
weird.
What did somebody like come up with something that was just absolutely horrible and the shit just fell apart? I guess too many cooks.
Maybe feedback or something from the people who got to play some of the early build of the game.
Yeah, like remove the BR.
Yeah.
Well, that and the fact that you're playing like a Thin Blood, and most people who are a fan of the vampire series, like they typically have like their favorite clans and things, and they want to play as those clans. And from what I've seen of what they were going with, like you were playing as someone who was so far away removed from Cain, so your bloodline was so thin, you didn't really have a clan. So, which I mean, from what I remember in the vampire, the Masquerade world, makes a lot of your abilities and stuff weaker. I mean, you can get access to the different clan abilities because you're not tied to a specific clan.
That's
but yeah,
stupid.
it was just weird how those generation of vampires work.
It's almost like they were trying to figure out a way to lock a story in instead of doing it the way you would, since it's a D&D style game
it's
originally.
tabletop RPG.
The tabletop style game to where you're choosing your own adventure. It's almost like they're eliminating the choose adventure part of that.
Yeah.
It's
They're
like,
like, we want to tell a very specific story.
Well,
Which, I mean, it's okay.
the
Can
first
make it
game,
work.
you could like there was a story there, but you got to pick how you approached it depending on your clan. You were Nosferatu, then you couldn't be running around up top to talk to people because you break the Masquerade doing that because of how you look.
Yeah, you're
So
freaking
you
hideous.
have to like navigate in the sewers and be stealthy. Or you could do like my favorite clan is the Gangrel. And I mean, I was running around up top, but I'd also just beat the shit out of them and kill things too. And like when you're going, like there's an overall story that's going on, but how you approach it and how you interact with everyone, it's all dependent on pretty much you and your character stats. Like my characters may not be very charismatic, so trying to talk to someone into letting me into a certain room is probably not going to happen.
I think it's interesting that Chicken and I actually had a conversation about RPGs and how they've changed over the years earlier today. Because that's very reminiscent to how like early Dragon Age was, and it seems like companies who started out with really good RPG games have tried to slimline and streamline a lot of things to the point where your choice is your character going to say yes or no? The outcome doesn't matter. It's still going to turn into this thing. And I wonder if that's what happened here, is they were trying to streamline it too much, and it got to, why not just make this a single story kind of thing? It doesn't need to be an RPG at that point. I mean, and they're like, no, it's an RPG, scrap it, let's start over. I wonder what happened.
Are they starting over, or it's just canceled?
No, it doesn't say. Okay, here's the thing. Is they've taken it off.
Okay, it says more development time is required, so
more
they are
development
not
time.
starting
So they've
over.
taken it down, so you can't pre-order it. But if you've already pre-ordered, you can't refund that pre-order either.
Oh wow, they've already signed a new developer, and they're ready to keep going.
Yes.
But it's going to be a while, which is okay. It's okay, people. Don't panic. Put your pitchforks down. Put the torches down.
It's gonna be
It
another
depends to
3
me
days,
on-
I imagine.
It depends to me on how they go from here. If they say next year we're releasing this game, so 2022 we're releasing this game, don't fucking touch this game.
No.
Yeah.
But if they're like, if 2025 is the release date, 2024, 2025 is going to be the release date, so you get full development with this team, then by all means put some faith into it. But other than that, I wouldn't put faith in it, because it's one of those where if they already said we're going to cut the cord once, and then they're giving code to the new developers that have to start and figure out what, they weren't part of the original process, and they're trying to develop to what the vision should be.
Yeah, I think they're going to be able to get the developers who, as long as they have the foundation and the ground to build on, then they can just kind of scrap the story and just redo the story inside of the engine they've already made. Because some of the the gameplay and whatnot, it looks okay. It looks okay. But as long as they could build a cohesive story and choices and actual RPG inside of that, then I think we're good to go. Like maybe early 2023 or late 2022, they might be able to have something built, an actual story built inside.
I wonder if this has something to do with the werewolf, the Apocalypse game.
Yeah, that was apparently pretty terrible.
Yeah, I wonder if if the vampire game was going to be something kind of similar in approach in some ways, and they were like, well, this did really bad, so let's completely scrap this.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine there's going to be an expose or something written about the development of this in the next year or so, and it's going to be a roller coaster to read. So
watch no clip will end up doing something on it. Danny Dwyer's like, I've got this.
Yeah, probably. So we'll see eventually, but right now you can't pre-order it anymore, but if you have a pre-order, you're locked in still. So this is why we don't pre-order things, people. Especially not that far out from launch. But
no.
Speaking of things that got canceled and canned, ooh, y'all, a few weeks ago we talked about BioWare and their remake of Anthem because they were going to rebuild it from the ground up and it was going to be new and shiny and perfect, and it's gone now. They canceled it all together.
My heart, the game has such a solid foundation.
Oh, it does. It has such good bones and the combat felt so good if they could just fix it.
And EA, I hate you. God damn it. EA, you suck. You suck. Stop making games. Go make pachinko machines.
Go join Konami and just let us have the rest of
job.
Yeah.
I think that the main thing on it, I'm sad about it because I really love the combat system and everything else is on there. It would be nice for them to be able to at least at some point create a new game with a similar combat style and give us the game we always wanted. Don't call it Anthem. Don't have mechs. Whatever you want to do to change.
No, give us the mechs because that combat is what made that game. I mean, the javelins were so good.
But give us a new game. Give us something that we can, change the name of whatever the javelins are, and just change it and give us something that's there. Because like you said, it's got good foundation.
The story in that
change your fucking engine. Please change your engine.
They're not going to do it. That's a proprietary engine to fucking BioWare, and they're going to keep it forever no matter how much. It's one of those things where it's like, why do you wear shoes that hurt you every time you wear them? Well, because they're mine, and I made them, or whatever. It's like, no! It's bad. It feels bad. Nobody likes that. Stop it. Just lease out, license out Unreal and get to work. It's an easier engine to work on, and you're going to have a much better product at the end. Really.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
I really do hate that game didn't work out, though.
But with that cancellation, comes into some news about a game that is close to Grif's heart.
It's getting further away every day, let me tell you.
And Dragon Age will now be a single-player only game. They are
it should never have been
planned
to be multiplayer. Their multiplayer for Inquisition was not good, and people didn't play it for a reason.
So the idea is good. All right, cool. They are removing the multiplayer games as a service part out of it. But that's like having your house mostly built. Now, how much effort did they put in there? Is it part of the foundation of the game? If ripping it out is going to make the house collapse? Or is it going to be barely structurally sound? Are there going to be big gaping holes that you could tell that are like, wow, this mechanic seems like absolute shit? Like something else was supposed to take the place of that. Like, how much is it going to hurt the development? How much time is lost from all of what they have put in there?
I just want to look at EA and be like, think about how far behind you are as far as everybody else in the world goes. You are still clinging to this idea that you need to shove a multiplayer into every one of your games. It's not working for anybody else, and they have stopped trying to do that. Like, there's campaign and there's multiplayer. There's story games that don't have to have multiplayer in them at all. EA wants to make the money off of a live service and feels like they need to put it in literally every game that they make now. And it's not working.
Well, it's not every game that they make now. Jedi Fallen Order, which is the one they talked about in the article itself, has no multiplayer in it.
I
They
believe
plan on
that was...
And it's a really good game.
Before that, they were talking about how single player was dead. So I bet you that the only reason they gave the go-ahead for that is because of how bad all their other Star Wars stuff was doing. The Battlefront 1 and 2, and they were...
Well, they knew that they couldn't do that with Star Wars because they had ruined the multiplayer Star Wars stuff, and that if they did that, it would have been basically a negative to start the game out with. Whereas they were like, okay, let's not do that, and let's make this
it's like they learned the lesson per series. Like, Battlefront, the multiplayer was pretty good, but everybody wanted a single player, and they're like, no, you don't. And then Battlefront 2 came out, and they're like, all right, we'll give you a little single player, but multiplayer. Except you got to fucking grind 180 hours for a single thing. Or spend a bunch of money. Yeah. No, it's like, EA, you still don't get it. We want a single player game only, and they're like, oh, okay. Why didn't you guys just say that? And then they made a pretty damn good single player game.
Well, but to be fair, this Fallen Order is the same game that Versatile Games was working on, that they ended up killing the studio, and ended up putting into the hands of who they ended up putting in the hands of? Same people did Titanfall, right?
DICE.
Yes.
Or Respawn.
Yes. Which, Respawn Entertainment.
Yeah, so they put it in their hands because Respawn makes a good single player game. If you play Titanfall 2's single player, it's short, but it's good.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a little short, but damn, is it good?
Yeah.
So,
man, I think that.
Well, you got Ultimate, so it's free anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I downloaded it, or I got it at some point when they were giving it away, so it's been in my library forever, regardless. But yeah, I think the problem is EA, because it was an EA choice and not a BioWare choice, went, we really need this game to have multiplayer, yo. And BioWare's like, it's Dragon Age. It doesn't need... They're like, multiplayer. And then things started falling apart with some of their other stuff, Anthem. And they're like, take the multiplayer out. We don't want the multiplayer anymore. Get rid of it. It didn't work out for this other stuff. Oh, okay. I guess now we'll just pull... How much time and money did you spend on a feature that nobody wanted? And that you trashed?
Far too much.
To be fair, if you're smart when you're in BioWare, you're trying to make some stuff happen, what you do is you turn around and you go, okay, we're going to make this so if they pull it, it's least amount of damage it can cause to the game that we've already started creating.
But I mean, it kind of depends on how much EA was pushing them to make it an integral part of the game. I mean, I really feel like since we were going to Adventure, they were going to make it like not necessarily open world, but they were going to have a city hub.
How did it work in the last one?
You invited a friend to play some stuff, and you guys went around like hinterlands and shit and just murdered things.
I thought it was more instance-based. Like, it was actually
that's what it is, though, is like you go to specific places, and I think one of the largest places you could go to that had the most instances was hinterlands. It's like, go here.
Because I know it was like dungeon crawling with a
kind of, yeah, but it was
people.
one of those things where it's like, this is not what anybody wants.
It was terrible, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was absolutely terrible.
It really, it wasn't, it was like basically take your Inquisitor and your buddy's Inquisitor and pretend that they're just people, I guess, and have them go and clear this dungeon as they would with their AI friends, except for they're not AI friends, it's you and your buddy.
What was it like Fable 2 where your buddy came over to your game and was the mercenary, and what was it really?
No, because you didn't do anything you didn't do anything related to the actual world. It was really just like, pretend that you're normal people and go play in this sandbox, but just this little sandbox that we made you. That's fun, right?
It was terrible. I hope they don't put it in there. But with this one, I bet there was like so many cosmetic styles and buy weapons or tokens and shit for upgrading. Like, because we were going to a place that we've never been before, so I assume it was going to be a giant open hub city. And
well, I mean, most of the time when you're playing Dragon Age are places that you really haven't been before. They mention, like, the game is still tied together by mentioning of places that you've been and things like that, but in general, I don't think there's much crossover between any of the actual locations.
Yeah, I think it just would not have fit. Like, thinking about it, like, I'll be honest, Grif loves Inquisition, but I feel like they went too far away from RPG in it, and I think if they would have continued down that route...
I like all three of those games for very different reasons. Like, I respect how all of them are done, and I don't think that makes me a bigger fan of Inquisition than, like, Origins, because, I mean, Alistair's in Origins, and...
I just think that the curve that they took off of Dragon Age is a lot steeper than the curve they took with Mass Effect. Like,
well, yeah, with Mass Effect, it was a space shooter with three choices.
Right, but they kept it very similar throughout all three games. But with Dragon Age, they were like, yeah, and here we go. It's like just fucking 90 degrees off the road and just went off to the side.
Streamline. They tried to streamline too hard.
Yeah, they took it too far, and I think this one, if they would have kept that route, would have just been way too far from the original.
We really got to get out of here, y'all. I just
realized
how long we've been here.
Yeah, hopefully they take it differently. We're way far into the show now, so...
Yeah.
Is there anything else that's critical that we want to throw in there?
I mean, I'm good.
Not really critical.
Well, what about the UK law change for the
I mean, they're
Scalpers?
talking about doing some changes. It's nothing formative. I mean, like, nothing happening right now, so I would say that's something that we can save for when something does happen and a vote gets passed on it.
I mean, the most important part about that is that they just want to make it so that bots can't pre-order stuff, which I think is a great fucking idea.
It's a great idea. I'd love to know how they're going to try to implement that. So, I mean, we'll see.
As technology grows, you know, the other side has to catch up too, so.
Oh.
Yep.
Let's get out of here, because this is going to be a long one to edit.
Yeah, it is.
And one of us is going to have to
appreciate everybody that hangs out with us each and every week at Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MDBOaktree. Check out Grif.
At GrifSlinum.
Check out Chicken.
At Elite Chicken 313.
Check out Baka.
Baka Pickle.
Also, make sure you go to Grif's YouTube channel where she's currently playing through Skyrim. Woo woo.
Yeah.
You can hit the little button that says sub, and the little button that has a little bell. Hit those so you get the things, the buttons.
And the like button.
Also make sure you go to twitch.tv/Elite Chicken 313 Chicken.
Tomorrow starts my child's first day of daycare, which means any days that I am not working, I will probably be more or less be at home and I can stream.
Yeah,
so it's going to be erratic as we see, but I will hopefully be able to start putting more hours into Ghost of Tsushima, because damn, if he's at daycare, you best believe I'm going to put several hours into Ghosts.
Also make sure you go to twitch.tv/MDBOaktree. Also, this week, we're going to try out a new service so I can talk about it on the show next week, which is a horrible name, but at the end of the day, I'm going to try it out anyway, which is Glimish. Glimish.tv/MDBOaktree as well. If you want to check me out, I'll be there on Tuesday and Thursday of this week trying to check that out as well, just to see how that streaming service works. But for Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Chicken.
Baka.
See ya.
Bye.